All thanks to Afonso Building Solutions, the Border's best value for money builder, Gus MacLeod, jumping on board the podcast for 2026.
Yeah, great to have Mario, David and Tuddy on board for 2026, and great to be in our brand new studio.
Yes.
The Speak Lab, it's been called, and of course Jackson and Tanisha from Speak Creative, they are the gurus behind this fantastic studio here at 2AY, and I'll tell you what, Panda, we're a little bit out of our comfort zone in here.
I feel a little bit strange in here. We've got the guys in here watching us, all the lights set up. It's something that we've been working towards for quite a while, but Jacko and Tanisha have made it a dream, especially after the storm hit this podcast studio. It was in tatters. So get on to Speak Lab, Speak Creative. If you want to look at getting some podcasting done, they can help you out.
Only problem is we get first right of refusal.
Exactly
so if we're in here, you're going to have to wait your line.
I've been waiting for this podcast for a very long time.
Yeah, well,
so is Ed Damon.
Ed Damon has been waiting for a very long time. I've checked my DMs. I'm still feeling a bit nervous about where I've got Ed in the list. He might not be unhappy, but
yes.
Top 25.
Top 25.
Panda. We've moved away from the A graders, and
that's Sam McClure and the tradies.
That's Sam McClure and the tradies,
yeah.
but we're sort of going down the Mark Robinson from the Herald Sun pathway now with the
Kane
top 25.
Corns did a top 50. Yeah. Jay Clark's done his top 50.
Too much research in a top 50.
I agree. Too much homework.
Fair bit of homework went into this.
Yes. You're up late last night.
Up late last night. I put it together across about a month window. I've spoken to players. I've spoken to coaches.
So you've got opinions.
I've got opinions, and I haven't used that to dictate what I think, but I've used it to give me some education and perhaps
shaping,
some perspective that we might not have here in the media. So the top 25 for 2026, there's a couple of bits of criteria that we need to address.
Okay.
Criteria point number one. They must have played in the competition in 2025.
Okay.
Tyson Young, Ben Patton, superstars.
Yes.
Can't make the top 25.
I like that. Straight up, cab off the rank. I like that.
The other one is they have to be playing in the competition again in 2026. Federico's out. Josh Murphy's out. They all walk up starts in the top 25. So that's the criteria.
Is that the only two criteria?
That's the only two bits of criteria.
Okay.
The rest of it is my list.
It's and as you say, Gussie, it's my list, it's my opinion, so piss off.
Correct. If you don't like it, turn off. I don't reckon there's anyone else doing a top 25 this year.
No. And you owned this space last year with your A-graders list, and you're happy to cop the heat. I think you will maybe do a social media detox after this.
I've booked a holiday.
You have. Yeah. No, I'm not going to play in this space. I know Dan Vaccaro is the one that probably would like to do a top 25. Scott Montgomery as well, but Monty's actually not involved in O&M Live in 2026, which we're shattered about. So I like the fact that you've taken the bull by the horns here.
Right, let's get stuck straight into it. I've got my honourable mentions, guys that did not make the list.
So you're kicking off with that first.
I'm kicking off with the list. The honourable mentions. Here are the blokes that did not make the list.
And this is where I'll go ham straight away.
Isaac Muller.
What?
Isaac Muller, stiff to miss.
What are you basing that off?
I don't think he's in the top three ruck in the comp anymore.
Right, okay.
Injury rattled in 2025.
These are things that I can go back to.
Oh, I know. This breaks my heart. Next one, Lee Williams, stiff to miss.
He will turn off right now. He'll be the first to download this podcast for one.
He will.
And he's not on the list.
Yeah, Leroy, stiff to make the list. This one's going to come with a lot of controversy. 2025 Morris medalist Sean Driscoll.
Not on the list.
Very stiff to miss.
Wow. There'd want to be some good players on this list.
Heads will roll.
Adam Schneider is calling right now, actually.
Captain Grumpy from North Albury, Jack Penny. Okay. I thought long and hard about making the list. Tom Boyd from the Rovers misses out.
Right.
Xavier Laverty just misses out.
Wow. You must have some very good forwards on this list if Xavier
Some very good players. Brad Melville misses out, just the squid.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that a bit more.
Ideally, I reckon alongside Tom Boyd, he's the best swing man in the competition. Aidan Tilley has just missed out.
Injury hurt him last year. He was on track.
Jace McQuaid from the Rovers has missed out. Noah Bradshaw from the Dogs has missed out. Archer Scammell has missed out from the Raiders, and Whooper Irvine from Yarrawonga are all my honourable mentions.
Okay. Well, let's race straight into number 25 then, because and I'm here to play devil's advocate, clearly, and bring up a few little bits and bobs and relay some stats. And, of course, we're going to bring all the players up here on the slideshow behind us. As you said, Gussie, you've done a fair bit of research into this to justify your reasons, but I'll throw a few little curveballs amongst the action.
Righto, here we go. First cab off the rank, number 25, is from the Wodonga Bulldogs, Adam Jorgensen. Now, I've listed a few bullet points on the TV for those to play along at home with, but one of the things when I think about Adam Jorgensen and when I've actually built the entire list is who are players that own and dominate their respective positions. And for me, I think Adam Jorgensen has taken the mantle as the best half-forward / midfielder in the competition. And I've got some data to back it up with. So Team of the Year in 2025, I think the competition started to gain some respect for him. He averages 1.3 goals a game, which is ranked 4th at Wodonga and 30 in the league, which for a small is quite impressive. He's the 17th best goal assist player and probably at rank 17 of the competition, Panda. He's probably the best in the, I suppose, small forward / midfielder in the assist bracket in the competition. A lot of assists come from on-ballers that are feeding it inside forward 50. But where he really stands out is his pressure. So he's ranked number 1 at the Dogs and 11th in the competition for pressure acts, and his overall pressure, he's ranked 12 in the league and 2nd at the Dogs. When he plays well, they win games of footy. Like I said, Team of the Year play. I think Adam Jorgensen is a comfortable in for the top 25.
No disagreements from me, Gussie. Love the fact that he's finally getting some recognition. And I think he was in 5 or 6 of the Team of the Years that were all submitted to the Ovens and Murray last year. 1.3 goals a game. There's not too many that average 20 touches and a goal a game. So no qualms from me at all.
Couple of the bros coming across this year to the kennel, so looking forward to seeing that. Number 24, I initially had this guy a lot higher, but injuries have made him slide down to number 24. I've got the Bulldogs co-coach in Jack O'Sullivan. I think this guy, Panda, if we can get a full season out of him, is capable of being the premier on-baller in the competition. He averages 21 disposals a game, and he's consistently involved in the Bulldogs' engine room when he's up and firing. He drives 4.3 inside 50s per game. His contested footy is his bread and butter. He averages 6.7 contested possessions a game, and he also has a lot of the ability, Panda, that a lot of big boys or big solid on ballers don't quite have, and that's the ability to get the ball on the outside as well. And he averages 13 of his 13 kicks per game. His accuracy there is at 78%. So when he gets the footy, he can get it on the inside and the outside, and then also deliver it quite well. And I think the bottom point that I've got on my slideshow here, Panda, he won the Goulburn Valley Medal, which is the Morrison Medal in 2023, and he was the runaway leader in 2024 before his season came crashing to a halt. I don't think we saw the best of him in 2025, coming back from multiple injuries, and let's hope he can have a better crack at it this year. But on what we have seen of Jack O'Sullivan, I know he only played the 8 games of footy last year. I think on what we have seen of Jack O'Sullivan, he's a genuine superstar, and he had to be in the top 25.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had him in there because he's only played the 16 games in 2 years. 2025, down on his form from 2024. He had 30 disposals once last year. So to have 30 touches once, there'd want to be some pretty good midfielders in this list, and I'm sure we've dominated by midfielders, Gussie. Only averaged the 21 touches. I think his 2024 form was brilliant. 1 game's off his boot, but I think a little bit too high for me. I wouldn't have him in the top 25 based off what we've seen last year. But we spoke to Jared Twitt on our earlier podcast for Wodonga. He's got a chip on his shoulder heading into 2026, and I think we are going to see a good Jack O'Sullivan this year, but wouldn't have featured in my 25.
Number 23, we are on to the Alpine Valley now, and we've got Riley Smith. In his first year in the competition, Panda, I reckon he was a little bit of a slow starter. It took him a little while to find his feet, but the thing about Riley Smith that I really liked, and I think he's worked his way into being in the top 3 rucks in the competition, is his ability to impact the game in more than one facet. So he averages 23.7 hit-outs, and that gave Myrtleford's on-ball brigade first use of the footy on a regular occurrence, and his impact around the ground was sensational, Panda. Myrtleford looked for him a lot coming out of D50, averaging 5.8 marks a game, and he hits the scoreboard as well, which I think is something that is a bit of a worry of mine coming into 2026 for Myrtleford, not necessarily having his partner in crime, Toby Crosser, but his ability to hit the scoreboard. And I think back to that prelim final when Funky Miller stuck him in the goal square and let him go to work. He kicked 2 big goals to really give Myrtleford a big chance of making their way into the grand final. And I think his aerobic capacity is really underrated for a big guy. He come over with wraps from the waffle as someone that was going to be a really big influence in the competition. And for him to be able to cover the ground well on the bog up at Myrtleford in the winter, and also do it on flat tracks and heavy tracks, everything in between. I think Riley Smith is one of the premier ruckmen in the competition and easily slotting into the top 25.
Yeah, I like his selection in there. Just I wonder if we've seen enough of him in his first year to justify him being in that top 25 and that top 3 ruckman, especially if you're not having Isaac Muller in there. B&F winner at Myrtleford took a few by surprise, to be fair. Everyone probably thought Jackson East would be the man that would win the best and fairest.
Considering he won the Morris.
Correct, in a 3-way tie. But, Shawnee Driz isn't on this list. So, look, I like him being in there. No real qualms. But you could easily find reasons to not have him in there as well.
Moving on, we're going to Bunton Park, and this one I think will upset a couple. I've got Tim Broomhead at 22. He's arguably North Albury's most important player to the outside world, but I think if you dig a little bit deeper at North Albury, you'll find there's a few more that play some unheralded roles. But he averages 24.7 disposals a game. His attacking influence is outstanding for North Albury. He's ranked 3rd in the league for score involvements at 7.3 a game. So 7.3 times a game, Timmy's getting involved in a score. Whether it's a goal or someone missing, well, that's up to them. He averages 17, just under 17 kicks per game. And his clearance work is quite strong as well. 4.5 clearances around the game. 1.3 goals, so he's in the scoreboard, 19 to 20 times, 22 times a year from a home and away season. And I think for Tim Broomhead, one of the things that I really applaud is his game is sort of stayed at a similar level. I think he's actually improved on his first year. His first year in the competition when he was travelling.
In 2022 was poor.
I wouldn't have used poor, but I don't think at the level that
it was poor.
He's at now. Now he's living here. He's coaching. He's found some better footy. I think we're going to see a different Tim Broomhead this year, positional-wise. The only reason I don't have him higher up the list is there's a few occasions last year where I think Tim put himself to halfback, and my personal opinion was I would have liked to have seen him stay in the engine room when the whips were cracking a little bit more. It's the only reason I've slotted him down to 22, and I think some of his disposals can be potentially overinflated when you factor in the halfback role at times. But superstar of the competition, he's a coach of the year, very good footballer. I'm expecting big things from Timmy in 2026.
I think he's too low, looking at some of the others that you have on the list in front of him. Number 3 in the league for score involvement, so arguably he's one of the better players in that aspect. Average 1.3 goals a game, which puts him as the second best goal-kicking midfielder in the comp, only behind Jackson Clark, who I assume you have high up on this list. He wins North games off his own boot. Too low in my opinion, but at the same time, Timmy needs to work through getting tagged as well. You talked about the halfback inflated numbers, but I think he was probably a top 5 player 2 years ago, but I don't mind the fact you put him down the list a little bit here. Still too low, but needs to work through a tag.
I think with Tim as well is the engine room at North Albury got better last year, and there was better midfielders in there alongside him. So his role did change slightly, but I think 2024 was definitely his best season in the competition. Moving on, we're going to Tigerland next, and Jake Ryan is one I've slotted in for number 21. I think he's one of the competition's most underrated and the most underrated forward in the competition. He averages 2.3 goals a game, but yet he's still not a name that screams dominant forward to the rest of the competition just yet. He come with an enormous rap, having played Sandford footy and coming up from the Geelong Football League. His attacking impact is outstanding. He's ranked 5th in the league for score involvement. So when you're a key forward and you're managing to kick 2.3 goals a game on average and then having a score involvement of 7.1, it shows that you've got many strings to your bow. And one of the things I also love about Jake Ryan, I think it's a little bit unheralded. And when I was thinking about his data, I thought of the game against North Albury, the come-from-behind victory. And that game probably wouldn't have gone the way of the Albury Tigers if Jake Ryan didn't have 2 pivotal moments in his hand. And the one that comes to mind was when he took a mark on centre wing right in front of our broadcast position, and nearly everyone in the competition would have just bombed the ball long down the line, but not Jake Ryan. He used every inch of composure and experience that he had up his sleeve, and he pulled off the most incredible 45-degree kick to the fat side of the ground. It opened up.
Ty Quaid from memory.
Ty Quaid, who kicked to Ryan Garthwaite. Ryan Garthwaite goes back and kicks the sealer. So I think Jake Ryan is the most underrated football in the competition. His football IQ is something you can't put a stat line on. You've got to see it to believe it. And I'm going to add something here, Pan, that I think is going to be a little bit controversial, but I think he's going to keep Colby Hennessy out of the side in 2026, who is often
need 1 pointers.
Is often spoken about as Albury's most influential forward.
Yes.
When he plays well, the Albury Tigers win, but his aerobic capacity to get up and down the ground is going to be sensational. I believe he's going to move back to Geelong this year, so we'll be a travelling player. Whether that has an impact on his football, we're yet to be seen, but I'm a big Jake Ryan fan, number 21 for me.
Yeah, there'll be North Albury people going, how do you have him above Tim Broomhead? I don't think he... Personally, I mean, this is your list, Gussie. I'm not sure we saw enough of him to justify him being in the top 25. 20 of his 35 goals came against bottom 5 sides.
Yep, fair point.
So
Albury are also one of those bottom 5 teams.
Correct, but kicked 7 against the Raiders. So, look, he's a good player, a really, really good player. But when you're leaving Shawnee Driscoll off the list, who kicked 40 goals more than him, the Rooster kicked more, Laverty you're leaving off the list, kicked a lot more. I assume Spiteri's on this list somewhere. Riley Sharps, maybe will feature on this list. So, better forwards, in my opinion.
I think Jake Ryan's role is a little bit different to them as well.
It is, yep.
He would spend more time outside of the 50 than inside, would be my take on that.
Yep.
So, he's a lead-up player, does his best work between the arcs. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he's capable of doing in 2026.
I think he's someone who will 100% be on this list at the end of this year. Just off what we saw in 2025, going back to your criteria, wouldn't have him in there.
Sam Catapan at number 20. I mean, I'm surprised it's taken to number 20 when I was breaking this down to get our first Wayne Grader Rover.
Is he still underrated?
I think Catapan
to the outside world?
Yeah, I think so. And I think if blokes like you and I, Panda, that are footy nuffies, we sit here and watch a lot of
footage,
Ovens and Murray footy, and I think when you speak to coaches, they understand how strong of a player
100%.
Catapan is.
Yep.
And because he's not the most flashy player at the Rovers, he's not a Brodie Philo, he's not a Sam Murray, he's not a Lockie O'Brien, but he's the most competitive, consistent on-baller, and you often find him at the bottom of packs, old school, doing a lot of the other things that some of the attacking mids don't do at Rovers, but they can't do that without the influence of Sam Catapan. 26.8 disposals per game, ranked 11th in the league and 3rd at the Rovers. I mean, it says a lot about the Rovers, but him to be ranked 11 in the league is certainly outstanding. Averages 8.6 ground balls and 4.6 tackles. So to me, that says he's willing to do the hard stuff and
100%.
he's getting the ball at the coalface, which is really important. And he averages 5.7 clearances per game. That's only got him up into the top 5 at the Rovers. He's ranked 5th for clearances at the Rovers. So it says a lot about them, but I think the outside world is slowly starting to learn how much of a gun Sam Catapan is. And you can see his style of footy, Panda, why he was such a highly regarded Metro player, because
Small
Metro
grounds.
footy is very congested in the Essendon District Football League. I think that'll be a bit of a blueprint for some guys like Tyson Young who are making their way up this year. Sam Catapan, number 20.
No qualms for me. He's been one of the best stoppage players in the last 2 years, 2024 Team of the Year. And as I said, I think underrated lost amongst some of the awesome names at the Wang Rovers. Gets it done every week. Coaches really rate him. You can't tag him because then other players get off the chain. So, like it, Gussie.
I think Sam Catapan, if he goes to any other club, he's the marquee player.
Agreed.
So that's a very good sign
Who's next, my man?
of what the Rovers can achieve. Number 19, I've got Jack Costello, the young rising superstar of the Lavington Panthers. Great to see he's been rewarded with
He's improved his ball drop since that photo as well.
the old double-hander.
In 2024.
Well-
He's a better kicker, I can tell you that right now.
And I reckon he's put on a bit of size and
Yes.
muscle as well compared to this photo. His numbers are elite for such a young player. We forget this guy's under 20 years old. 4th at Lavington and 23rd in the competition with 23 disposals per game. Around the contest, 7.2 ground balls, which is 18th in the competition. This is a small guy, Panda. He's not a very big human. He's competing against some very, very big players. The thing I love about Jack Costello is he's on par with the best two-way runner in the competition.
Him and Lockie O'Brien, aren't they? Yep.
His aerobic capacity is simply outstanding. He sets up a lot of their attack when he runs and carries. He's superb. He averages 5.4 score involvements per game, but he also does a lot of hard work, 6.4 intercept possessions per game and just under 6 tackles per game. He's a coach's dream. We know why Adam Schneider bangs on about how much he loves Jack Costello. I think he's destined for bigger and better things in the Ovens and Murray. We've only had one really good year of sample size from Jack Costello, but I really hope he can continue to grow. And if he stays in the Ovens and Murray, he's got top 10 written all over him. But I think after 1 year as a 19-year-old kid and some good thirds footy, the excitement factor around Jack Costello is simply outstanding.
No arguments whatsoever there, Gussie. 2025 Team of the Year. And I think he's Adam Schneider's most important cog of a really important piece at Lavington. So important, two-way runner, sometimes starts off a half-back flank and plays as an extra in defence. Teams can't run with him. He actually got tagged a couple of times last year as well. So very important to why Lavington, I think, won 14 in a row last year.
Number 18, he's a fan favourite. Matt Wilson of the Wodonga Bulldogs. And his role's evolved, I think, in the last few years. He come to the competition as probably a winger.
Half-backer in a way.
And then now he's sort of a genuine half-back. I think the Bulldogs, under the leadership of Jared Twitt and Jack O'Sullivan, have identified that half-back's arguably the most important role in the side. And you need a very good half-back to have a good football side. And he's developed his defending attributes in his game to a whole new level. So he averages 7 marks behind the footy a game, 5.8 intercept possessions each week, and his rebound off halfback is becoming one of the most threatening in the competition. 22 disposals a game, 15 of them are kicks, and when he kicks the ball, it generally comes off to something pretty good in an attacking capacity. He reads the game so incredibly well. How often do we see Matt Wilson get to spots and you go, wow, how did he do that? It's because he reads the game so well. And the bottom stat I've written on there, well, it isn't a stat. It's just a note. And you don't need a stat line for it.
He's the man.
He's got X factor.
He does, yeah.
Not many players in the competition have genuine X factor. Yeah, it gets thrown around a lot. This guy's got it. He's got it in spades. And when he does freakish things, Wodonga win games of footy. They've got no right to win. So Matt Wilson, he's a superstar. Hoping he can have a big 2026.
I like it. I reckon his 2024 year was better than 25.
I would agree with that.
But he kicked, I remember again, I reckon it was against the Albury Tigers in 2024. Because their vice president is nodding, who's making this work. He had kicked 5 goals and 30 touches. So when he kicks goals and plays well, Wodonga win games. So, and he does. He is X factor. Bobby J loves him. Vaccaro love him. They love him down at the Dogs, and they'll be wanting him to stick around.
On a side note, where do you think he's best utilised for Wodonga?
I think he can play mainly off half back. But he's the Simon Curtis that when they need a little bit in the engine room, they put him on ball. And I think that will be his role a little bit throughout 2026. But there's no doubt in my mind he can be a top 10 player in this competition.
Yeah, I think the only knock I can put on Matt Wilson is he might be a slight bit inconsistent. But who knows?
Good man down the Star Bar as well.
He's a very good man. Loves having a beer. Very good golfer too, is Matt Wilson. At number 17, the superstar from Yarrawonga, Willie Wheeler. Some of his numbers, Panda, it takes a fair bit of digging to find this, but some of the stuff he can produce from only 8 games of footy in 2025 before he got injured. So he played rounds 1 to 8 and got a pretty nasty injury, which ruled him out for the rest of 2025. But his numbers were simply outstanding. 8.7 clearances per game, Panda, which I think is worth its weight in gold, averaging just under 2 or over 2 a quarter. 6 inside 50s, which gets him number 1 at Yarrawonga and number 1 in the league, averaging 6 inside 50s a game. And we know he's a really good user with ball in hand. And his centre clearance work. He's the number 1 centre clearance player in the game. And when you think about that stat, Panda, and you think about Yarrawonga, I don't know about you, but I often envision Yarrawonga getting the ball into the hands of Willie Wheeler and him getting it going their way. 2024 Morris medalist. I think we forget that he was such a dominant player in 2024 because we didn't get much of him in 2025. But if Yarrawonga are going to make their rise back into finals, which we do expect them to get very close to at this stage, it's going to come off the back of a big year of Willie.
I think you've nailed where he sits too, Gussie. I've disagreed on a few things, but I like the fact you have put him at 17 because we have to go off what we've seen in 23 and 24 where he won his Morris medal. As you said, only played I think it was actually 6 games. So that inside 50 stat's a little inflated, but there's still room for him on this list 100%. Probably about right at number 17, but we all know at his best. He's a top 5 player in the comp. So I think you've nailed that one, Gussie.
I reckon this guy is going to be slightly annoyed that he's a little bit lower down the list, but I've gone with Will Christie.
I think you're right.
At number 16.
I think it's pretty good.
I had some feedback that he was too low.
Too low.
Fellow
Sam Murray?
No, from fellow call team members.
Members, okay.
But around about the money from other coaches.
I think you're on the money here.
I think with Will Christie, and one of the things I love about him is he's a genuine key forward and he's a genuine ruckman, all packaged into one. You can utilise him in both roles. So I think his ability to hit the scoreboard in 2024 was outstanding with 2.4 goals per game. Ranked 5 in the competition for contested marks. So he's got a really good ability to clunk them at their highest point. And yeah, that's well and good when you're 2 metres tall, Pan, to get the big mitts up there. But to clunk onto them is the most important part. And he can have enormous impact on games. He only averaged 13.4 disposals, Panda, but every time he touched the footy, something good happened for the Rovers. And I love the fact he's number 6 in the competition for score involvement. So whether that comes from him bringing a ball to ground, him directly kicking a score, or his ruck craft shaping up a play for an attacking look for the Rovers. He's a superstar, this bloke. I think we forget he's 24 years old.
Yeah, very young.
So he's still got his best footy yet to come. We know he's had a tough run with injury, and I think one of the reasons why I like him so much was what he did for the Rovers in that 2024 grand final. He got himself up, got himself into the side.
Only kicked 2 goals, had 2 kicks for they were important.
And I reckon the Witch Doctor helped him along a little bit, but he played a pivotal part in the Rovers getting their 2 premierships. Did Simpson medal in 2025. He's a star, Will Christie.
He is. I think I actually wrote on my note he could have him a little higher, but sort of 16 to 12, I reckon Gussie is probably where you've got him. 49 goals from the 20 games. And people forget that he's in round 1 against the Wang Magpies last year, or round 0 or whatever it was. He was the number 1 ruckman. And then pretty quickly, Ed Damon became that number 1 ruckman, and he swallowed his pride, was willing to do anything for the Rovers system, went forward, became one of the most damaging forwards in the competition, and he was a Did Simpson medalist in the grand final.
Number 15, we're going to a man who doesn't need much of an introduction.
Spitzy.
And I'm tipping I'll get a DM from this bloke, and I don't know whether it'll be good, bad, or indifferent, but he will find his way into my DMs most likely Friday night.
Why aren't I top 5? That'll be probably the first
number
thing.
1?
Correct.
Will be probably coming from Spitzy. And I think I want to give a bit of credit to Noah Spiteri. This is a guy that's only been playing football 3 times, full-time for 3 years. He's a soccer player. And I think there's going to be a little bit this year in our commentary of the Scott Pendlebury. Did you know he's got a basketball background? Did you know Spitzy's got a soccer background?
No, Bontempelli also played basketball.
Bit of basketball. I think he is the premier small forward in the competition.
He's gone past Lockie Murphy, Dale and others.
3.2 goals a game, team of the year player, 6.8 score involvement. So when Spitzy's near the ball, when he's around the ball, they kick goals and they hit the scoreboard. He averages 1.6 forward 50 tackles per game, which mightn't look like it's a great sexy number, Panda, but he's number 4 in the league. So he's also being a threat pressure, and he's putting on a lot of pressure as well. He's 14th in the league for score involvements as well, which I think is absolutely sensational. And his average 3.2 goals a game has him sitting at number 3 in the competition. Now, we know he's kicked some bags against some weaker opposition, but he was only held goalless once in 2025, and that's when Geordie Ayres probably played the best game of footy he's ever put together against Corowa. He's kicked from 13 games in the Northern Territory this year. Panda's kicked 32 goals, which in wet, slimy conditions is pretty good, but he's 52 from 16 in the Ovens and Murray this year was simply outstanding, and he's a proof that with only 10.5 average disposals per game, you don't need a heap of it to make an enormous impact.
Maximum impact player. He is a genuine star of the comp. Best small hybrid forward, as you and I both touched on, Gussie, kicked multiple goals in 13 games. And you mentioned against some of the weaker sides. Well, the stats also show other sides. 4 versus North Albury last year, 5 versus Albury, 4 versus the Wang Magpies, 3 versus the Rovers, and 6 versus Myrtleford in an away thumping. And he had 5 in the first quarter, I think. So he wins games to Wodonga, and teams get worried when he gets the ball. You can see that panic sort of set in when he gets the ball. So I think he's going to go to another level this year.
I think Noah Spiteri, now coaches will pay a lot more respect to him. I think he was a little bit of a, I want to say this respectfully, Spitter, he was a bit of a gimmicky player.
Well, at the halfway mark last year, teams then started to put their best, smaller defender on him, or even at some stages their best defender overall on him. So, and he'll get that this year. He'll get way more attention.
That's number 15. Going to number 14, another Wangaratta Rover. I've gone with the co-captain in Xavier Allison. I think some of his numbers are simply outstanding, Panda. 6th in the league for disposals, average disposals per game. So he's a very consistent winner of the football. 4.8 intercept possessions per game, which has got him at 29th in the competition, but second at the Rovers. And we know how incredibly and crucial the Rovers play off halfback is for them. They set up their attack to their fast wingers and their dynamic on ballers off the back of their halfback use. And he's an elite user by foot. 13th in the competition for effective kicks, 75% disposal efficiency from his 21.2 disposals. And I think one of the things that's very unheralded with Xavier Allison that I have factored into this is his on-field leadership. And I've spoken to a couple of players and as well as key forwards. And Xavier Allison never shuts up. The way he directs traffic and play behind the football is a real credit to him. And I think it also makes the Rovers' premiership victory in 2025 a little bit more special because this bloke broke his leg in the first 10 minutes of the game and spent the entire game on the bench. He tried to get himself back out there with the services of the witch doctor. It didn't quite get him up.
It's hard to get someone up with a broken leg.
With a broken leg. And it didn't quite look overly, it didn't look all that bad when it first happened. But it shows the character of the man that he's going to get himself up for a good Friday opener against the Rovers. I know a lot of people are going to say, gee, he might be a little bit too high, but I have factored in that leadership and the on-field coaching that he does bring to the table. And one of the things I have written down here, Panda, is you don't necessarily always notice him when he's there, but you do notice when he's not there. And I think that's a sign of a really good player.
Yeah, so I like the fact that he's on this list. I'm in that bracket of maybe just a little too high for me. It'll want to be a really good 13 players. He's important for the Rovers. Clearly he's on this list because of his halfback role, and you mentioned that at the start. Simon Curtis averaged more touches than him last year. Team of the year. Didn't even make your stiff to be there, Simon Curtis. So a few people
Simon Curtis stiff.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Might have to go back and have a listen. But yeah, I think that a little bit too high for me. But like all your arguments as well, Gussie, could have had him in that sort of 20 to 25 bracket.
Going to number 13. From Bunton Park, it's the recently appointed captain in Julian Hayes. How's this for a stat, Panda? 4-time in a row, Team of the Year player.
Yeah.
4 years in a row, Julian Hayes has been named in the back six for the Ovens and Murray Team of the Year. I'm going to also put another statement out here. I think that alongside Jake Pitt, I'm going to put them both on the podium. Julian Hayes is the most underrated footballer in the Ovens and Murray, full stop. Yep.
Teams tag him now.
I understand that, but I don't think he gets the accolades from the rest of the competition.
I reckon he's the best kick in the comp almost.
His disposal efficiency by foot is off the charts. Here's some of the numbers, Panda, that I've got here. Averages 27.8 disposals per game, which is enormous for a defender. We know he spent some time in the engine room at times last year, but predominantly, I would say 80% of the time he's running off half-back. The slingshot averages 6.9 rebound 50s per game. He's the second best at it in the competition. And we know he's got an enormous boot, Panda. I reckon he's capable of kicking the footy 60 metres with accuracy, which is an enormous weapon that North Albury utilise when they're at their best. It often starts with sharing in hand from Jules across half-back, and what's even more threatening is when he gets it within 60 metres from goal. He's very composed. Panda kicks at 72% kicking efficiency, and he averages 19 kicks per game. So if you're kicking the ball 19 times at 72%, probably means only 4 or 5 of those are not going to be overly efficient. And his defensive work alongside his attacking work off halfback is outstanding as well. 4 intercept possessions per game. Like I mentioned, 4-time Team of the Year player. He's now the captain after doing it in an unofficial capacity in 2025 when George Goody did his ACL. Julian Hayes, genuine superstar.
Probably about right for me with Jules. I've even written here maybe could slide back a few spots, but he's super important for North. Got tagged on multiple occasions last year. Remember, Will Blomley did a really good job on him. Maxi Finlay as well from Yarrawonga tagged him a couple of times. Over 70% kicking efficiency, which you've already said, Gussie, and he's one of the best kicks in the comp. Going to be interesting to see where North play him this year, I think. Maybe might go in the engine room a little bit. Who knows? They could even chuck him forward. He's actually a lot bigger than what a normal halfbacker is.
What would he be in size?
Oh, he's
185, 186?
Yeah, but he's thick. Like, you wouldn't want to run into him. He's always in the gym.
The bricky.
So, look, it's going to be interesting to see where North play him this year because Matt Gardner's come into that side now from Coburg and Flynn Gardner. They might throw him a few more, looks down in defence. So, Can go in the engine room, but I like where he is.
Number 12, this guy I initially had a little bit lower, but after speaking to coaches and key forwards, I had him elevated, and I'll touch on why I've elevated him shortly. It's number 12 for Charlie Morrison, the Bulldogs co-captain.
He'd love that photo, by the way.
Panda. The pipes look good.
The pipes look good.
The only thing I reckon you could add to that photo is maybe oil him up a little bit. Get
the Vaseline.
Get the trainer to run out with the tomato sauce bottle full of oil and just lather him up. Serious weapon is Charlie Morrison. So defend first and then attack is what I've written. He's number one and in the the number one for the Bulldogs and 7th in the league for rebound 50s at 4.9 per game. His aerial presence is outstanding with 6.2 marks a game. He's the second at the kennel. And he's also the benchmark when it comes to these stats. Intercept marks and intercept possessions. Number 2 in the league for marks at 2.8. And number 4 in the competition for intercept possessions at 7.1. The reason I initially had him a little bit lower, Panda, and this is something that stat lines and potentially when you're watching the play without a coach's or a forward's lens, is Charlie Morrison has been described as the best attacking defender in the competition. And when you play on Charlie Morrison, not only do you have to worry about getting a kick yourself, you've also got to worry about chasing him when he gets on his bike and sets up a lot of their play. He's a really good user by foot, Panda. They like to get the ball in his hands. And one of the things I've noticed after watching some tape on him is the Bulldogs like to get him up the ground a little bit more. They don't like him being the deepest defender.
Which is what he was a few years ago, just a stopper.
Just a stopper. And they've really turned his game into that rebounding player. And they're sort of trying to turn him into a Matty Scarlett sort of a player where he defends first, then attacks, and he's a real weapon. So that got him up the list for me, is his ability and the fact that ability to attack and the fact that opposition coaches and key forwards get really worried when they play the Bulldogs that you're going to have to do a number in 2 facets of the game up against Big Chugger.
Why have you put 3 defenders, 14, 13, 12? Is that just how it
Just coincidence.
Just coincidence? Okay.
Just coincidence.
Giving some of the defenders a bit of love, Gussie?
Yeah, just coincidence.
I like it.
But Charlie Morrison, of course, captained our interleague team as well. So very highly regarded human being.
No worries at all for me here, Gussie. And as I've written down here, he's added rebounding and attacking to his weaponry in the last couple of years, which you probably didn't attribute to Charlie Morrison at all in that 2023 year. So no, like where you've put him, Gussie.
Number 11 to the Norman's Oval, the co-captain Jackson Clark. Jackson Clark's a really interesting player, Panda. I feel like 2025 probably wasn't
correct
his most outstanding season, but the data would potentially suggest otherwise.
Yeah.
He's one of their main playmakers, Panda, and he leads the team for goal assists with 1.3 per game, which has got him at number 10 in the competition for score involvements overall, with 7 per game. So whilst it's 1.7 goal assists, the score involvement chart bolsters him a little bit there. And I've written down here, give it to him. So he averages 5.2 inside 50s per game, which has got him number 6 in the competition, number 1 at the Magpies. So when Jackson Clark has the ball, and we often vision him streaming out of the centre bounce stoppage or getting a handball from a Federico or a Melville, and he runs inside 50. His breakaway pace is outstanding. He gets the ball very deep inside forward 50 and allows players like Xavier Laverty and Matty Hayden and sometimes Aidan Tilley when he's down there best opportunity to clunk at the footy. I think he's probably still the most capable on-baller / key forward in the competition. I think he's the only player that can do both.
Yep.
And do it genuinely well.
And Sam Murray, I would argue as well.
Yeah,
yep.
I'd say Jackson Clark is...
Sam probably can't play key. He's more of that, I'll put you in the goal square to scare the crap out of opposition.
Yep. Whereas Jackson Clark, if he's playing at full forward, opposition are putting their best full back on him.
Yep.
And he also has a really strong aerial presence with 6.5 marks per game. 3.5 of those are inside 50. He's a captain. He's a leader. Good personality. I think when the Wangaratta Magpies win, Panda, it comes off the back of Jackson Clark playing good games of footy. I would like to preface by saying I don't think he's the player he was in 2023-24 last year, but I think there was a lot more pressure on him to be the goal-kicking player. I think this year with a bit more midfield depth and Aidan Tilley potentially being a permanent forward, we're going to get the luxury of seeing a little bit more freedom for Jackson Clark, and I'm expecting a big year from him.
Yeah, I've written down here, I reckon he's 23 and 4 campaigns, albeit he was injured a lot in 2024, were probably better, probably going back to that premiership year, 22-23. goal assists inside 50s. This is a soccer term, but he's a forward centre player. So he damages you in the forward half of the ground.
Which is remarkable considering he played all his footy in Melbourne as a half-back.
Half-backer. Yep. And which Jace Heatley has spoken about a lot to us. So like where you have him, I think at his best, he is a top 5 player in the competition at his best. But I think 11's probably about right off what we saw last year.
Top 10 time. Panda
Here we go.
Here on the top 25, and we're off to Lavington first.
Billy.
Number 10, Big Billy Glanville. He's just been appointed as the co-captain of the Panthers alongside Shawnee Driz. That come out on social media.
Shawnee Driz won't be your man anymore. He'll be disappointed he didn't make your list.
Shawnee Driz also is very good at being humble.
He is a humble man.
A very humble man is Shawnee Driz. And I think he'll still send through some voice memos.
I think he will.
One of the biggest ball winners in the competition, 29.3 disposals per game. Panda 4th in the competition. He accumulates the footy. I don't care what anyone says. When you are an on-baller and an on-baller only, and you're averaging just under 30 disposals per game, some might say he gets some cheap footy. You still got to get it, and he does a lot of really good stuff with it.
I don't think he gets cheap footy because most of them are all contested.
Yeah.
So he's winning his own ball.
Well, this next stat backs it up. 14.7 contested possessions per game. Number 1 at the Panthers, number 3 in the competition. He gets it at the coalface, and he loves the stoppage. Now, when you've got a side that don't necessarily have a dominant ruckman, I'm surprised his numbers are so flattering in this space, but 6.8 clearances per game from stoppage, 9th in the competition, number 1 at Lavington. So he's the guy that Lavington look to get the ball in the hands of first and then try and get it in the hands of Ed Perryman, who unfortunately isn't going to be there in 2026. That's a big, big role and a void for the Panthers to fill. The knock I do have on Billy Glanville is I think he needs to hit the scoreboard.
Mate, I've got that written down. That's his next challenge. So if I'm Adam Schneider and I'm the coaching staff at the Lavington Panthers, I mean, he's over 190. So he can go forward and take clunks. And that would be my challenge to Billy. We saw him go down and have a full preseason at Werribee, albeit he was injured and didn't really have much of an impact there. But if he wants to be a top 5 player in the comp and maybe light his name up in some of those teams at the VFL, kick 20 goals a game.
Yep.
20 goals a season.
20 goals a game, Pan. I reckon he's playing league football.
I reckon he's winning the Doug Strang and he's overtaking a lot of players. But, 20 goals a year. Can he do what Jackson Clark did and kick 23? Maybe not that many. And maybe Timmy Broomhead. Kick goals, I would say to Billy.
Number 9, another Wangaratta Rover. I've got Nathan Cooper here, Panda. And Nathan Cooper is a player I had a lot of trouble trying to work out where he fitted into this list.
Interesting.
Really important aerial target inside 50. Averages 2 goals per game, which has got him 15th in the competition. Basically 2.5 contested marks per game, which is 8th in the competition and 2nd at the Rovers. And he averages 3.6 score involvements per game. Consistent contributor when the ball goes inside 50, averages just under 2 marks inside 50 per game, which is probably where a lot of his score involvements and goals do come from. And he's ranked inside the top 10 for contested marks in the competition. Now, people are going to say that data's it's good, but it's not unbelievable.
So what are you basing the 9th position? Is that based on reputation?
It's based on the fact he's a fullback playing in the wrong position, and he still managed to be ranked inside the top 10 in a lot of really impressive stats. One of the things I loved about Nathan Cooper and the Rovers this year is when the game was in the balance and the game was on the line, Muzz said, let the bakers bake the bread. And they put him behind the ball. They put him at fullback in the grand final. We saw his soccer goalkeeper touch on the line to deny a crucial goal late in the game. And we saw him become the best defender in the competition in the grand final. He went to a whole new level. And it's a luxury the Rovers have that no one else in the competition does, that you can play the best fullback. And he's a Team of the Year player from memory, Panda, in the VFL, a premiership player as well. And he's playing out of position. I don't care what anyone says. If he played in the back 6 each and every week,
he's the best defender in the comp.
The big boys aren't kicking the sort of goals they are kicking against the Rovers. But what a luxury they do have to play him inside forward 50. Yeah, reputation's got him up on the list a little bit here, but I think we need to remember this guy's playing at the wrong end of the ground from where he's played his best footy and where he's been taught to play, bearing in mind he was a late grower to the game of AFL coming from Sydney. So Nathan Cooper, number 9, might raise a few eyebrows, but they're the reasons why I've gone with him there.
No, I can see your reasons and you're justifying it, Gussie, which I rate. But like I said, if we're basing this off what we saw last year, he is genuinely too high. Laverty kicked more goals than him. So did Riley Sharp, Shawnee Driscoll. I know he's playing out of position, but definitely on the list. Not sure you can probably put him in the top 10. I mean, he's a top 5 player in the comp if he's playing at fullback, in my opinion, and he's a fullback team of the year player in the VFL. So, like the fact that you've stuck by your guns, mate. I like it. Just a little bit too high off last year's stats.
Number 8, this bloke single-handedly carried the Albury Tigers last year. It's Jake Gaynor. And I think what he was able to achieve in 2025 as the one-man band inside Albury's engine room has elevated him. He was initially outside of my top 10, Panda, but I found a way to bring him in. People forget Jake Gaynor was about as small as a jockey. He is a very, very small man. He's got a low centre of gravity, but it's also one of his biggest strengths. The way he picks the footy up and breaks away from stoppage is simply outstanding. 7.1 clearances per game, which is 4th at the Albury Tigers. Of course, a lot of their big boys like Isaac Muller, he's the number 1 clearance player in the game, Panda, but not all of them are to advantage. He's the 7th in the competition in that space. Jakey Gaynor. He's a small player with a big impact, and he has 12.3 contested possessions per game, which has got him sitting at number 11 in the competition. I think his leadership is something that really stood up for me in 2025. Teams had to tag him, and he found a way to break tags on regular occurrences, and he did it when the Albury Tigers needed him to stand up. Some of the big wins that the Albury Tigers had, and I think back to the 27-point come-from-behind win in round 4 or round 3 against Corowa. It come off the back of Jake Gaynor just simply going to work, refusing to give in, and really standing up. He's coaching the thirds. He's already putting together some pretty big weeks on the tools, training and coaching a side of footy. Being there at Sparrows, he's probably getting to 2 o'clock on a Saturday tired and knackered, and he's producing outstanding football. I think he goes to a new level once again with some other players taking the spotlight off him in 2026 with guys like Patton and Cousins and Anthony Miles coming back into the engine room. But if you speak to coaches in the competition, you speak to fellow players, a name that is always on the opposition whiteboard when you play the Albury Tigers is someone you need to stop and need to quell the impact of, otherwise you will not win. It's Jake Gaynor.
Yeah, I like all your reasons, Gussie. I would have probably just had him in the teens, maybe 2 or 3 spots back. I think you said at the start you originally had him outside the top 10 and you found a way to get him in the top 10. I remember that game against North Albury in that last quarter. I think he had 5 or 6 touches. We all thought he had more, but it was the impact with those touches. And I remember him nailing Matt Walker, who kicked 4 in that last quarter a couple of occasions. Does he get extra credits because he was the sole midfielder for the Tigers last year, which is why you've got him in the top 10? Not sure. Definitely a top 15 player in the competition, but maybe just a tiny little bit too high. But I really rate this guy. It's going to be interesting to see what happens this year. As you mentioned, with Cousins and Patton, Lipscomb, you've got to find room for Fletch Carroll. So does he play a little bit more outside the engine room this year? It's going to be very interesting. Watch this space down at Tigerland, but he's a star, Jakey Gaynor, and he does it all about 4 foot tall. He's a gun.
Number 7, the Morris medalist for 2025 is Lockie O'Brien. I described him when I did my A-Graders podcast, Panda, as the best outside player in the competition. I think we saw that this year, last season, I should say. I think Jack Costello joins him on the podium as well. But I think the rest of the competition started to identify why this guy, after having the most unbelievable first half of footy in his debut game for the Rovers against the Magpies as an on-baller, why the Rovers put him to the outside. Everyone knocked it all season. Why is O'Brien playing on the wing? Why is O'Brien not playing on ball? And in the last 12 to 18 months, we've identified why, because his outside game is just simply outstanding. His run and carry has him the second best in the competition, averaging 2.1 bounces per game.
Who was number 1?
Couldn't tell you. Just looked at his stats.
I might have a quick look now.
Number 1 bouncer in the competition. There's probably someone, Panda, that likes to
played 1 game, which is why their average is higher.
The playmaker, Panda, so he averages 4.6 inside 50s per game, which has him 14th in the competition. If he's hitting the ball inside 50 once a quarter, Panda, we know that he's such an exciting and exquisite user by foot. And my next stat backs it up. But if he's getting the ball inside 50 once a quarter, you're generally going to get a result with a look on goal. Averages 15.2 kicks per game and kicks at 88%. I had a note here that he was the best left footer in the competition. I had to change that once I continued doing my notes towards the top end of the table. He's an absolute superstar. I think we can see why this guy played so much AFL football at the top level. He's an absolute gun. He won the Morris Medal. I think he's the premier wingman in the competition.
It's interesting because I don't think we've seen the best of him yet.
Really?
Nah, I don't think we have in the competition. I mean, you forget he's a top 10 draft pick for Carlton.
Gun.
And I'm not sure where he even finished in the Rovers' best and fairest.
And to be brutally honest, the Rovers' best and fairest, you could throw 15 hats in the bucket, pluck it out, and
100%.
still justify the winner.
Murray, Damon, Thompson, I would say right now probably finished higher, but I don't know. I think Damon came second, Murray won it. So it's interesting having him at number 7 because based off pure numbers, Gussie, he probably doesn't justify being in the top 10. But I like the fact that you've gone in with impact here. And I mean, you know, he won a Morris Medal and you're going off position here with wings. So you could argue that he wouldn't be in the top 10. I like the fact that you've gone with it, but it's an interesting one because, like I said, I'm not even sure where he finished in the Rovers' best and fairest. So I like it, and I still don't think we have seen the best of him yet in this comp.
66 games of AFL football between 2018 and 2023. This guy will turn. He's already by the time we play in the grand final, Panda, he'll turn 27. So this guy's probably still got
In his prime.
His prime to come. I think this next one, Panda, is going to cause the most eyebrows raised.
You reckon?
Number 6, the co-coach of the Albury Tigers. I've gone with Ryan Garthwaite.
Why?
At number 6. The stat I've written here is his bread and butter, and that's marking the football. Number 1 at Tigerland, number 4 in the competition as a big man. You look at his starter, Panda, and I reckon Ryan Garthwaite would have been slightly disappointed with his season in 2025. He come with enormous raps being a former AFL player and dominated in the Division 1, which is the second tier of Eastern Football League with Montrose, coached by, of course, Gary Ayres. And he come to the Albury Tigers with a bit of a baptism of fire. He signed initially as a player, then become the co-coach later on in the piece. And he's also doing all of this, Panda, being delisted, moving twice, once to Melbourne, now back to this part of the world, becoming the co-coach of arguably country footy's most dominant football club in the Albury Tigers. Done all of this by the age of 26. He started the season up in the forward line and didn't quite go to plan. But his data suggests that when he was playing in the forward line, he'd get it done at both ends. So he averages 2.1 marks inside attacking 50, which has him at 3rd for Albury and 21 in the league. And I think one of the things with Ryan Garthwaite, and this is why I did elevate him so high, is I think I'm just going to put a line through what he had to deal with in 2025 with everything that was on his plate. Because when we saw him go into defence predominantly, he played his best footy there and he looked like a guy that got drafted. He looked like a player that was dictating the play. He looked like a guy that was going to be a dominant force. And the game that come to mind about when he pulled the trigger and used it to the best of his ability, and I'm sorry to bring it up once again, was the North Albury game at Albury Sports Ground. We know that Matt Walker played a pivotal part, kicking a big bag of goals. But Ryan Garthwaite kicked the sealer.
Yep.
He kicked the sealer and he played in the back 6 nearly all day. Took a lot of marks, set up the play from defence, threw himself forward with the licence, and I reckon the Albury coaches got that right in the second half of the year, or potentially the third bracket of the season, the final 6 games. He got the licence and it come off, and I think using that as the building block going forward, we know that he's a premier player in country footy. He did all of this, Panda, whilst being the first-time co-coach. I reckon under the most pressure out of any coach in the competition to have wins on the board. We know that winning is synonymous with the Albury Tigers, and the fact they missed finals the year prior would have put a lot of pressure on this guy. He stepped up when the Tigers needed him to, with a few blemishes early in the season, which I'm putting a line through. He progressed past that, and I think this guy is capable of blowing the competition apart in 2026. I reckon he's going to become potentially a player that pushes into the top 5 at the back end of the season.
So I've got him in the same bracket as Lockie O'Brien. I don't think we've probably seen the best of him yet, which is scary.
Could not agree more.
And you know, his data backs up you having him in the top 10 here, Gussie. I mean, 34 goals and probably played 12, 13 games forward, then had to go into defence. It was too late. You and I have both spoken at length about that. And he's the biggest watch this space to me where he plays this year. You know, whether he's full back, whether he's full forward, Jacob Conlon comes back, Matt Walker, Jake Ryan. So it's going to be a real watch this space. Probably a couple of spots too high. I don't think that you'll upset too many people by having him this high, but I think he's a top 10 player, but I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. So the data backs it up, Gussie, but maybe just a tiny little bit too high for being really picky.
Number 5. He's probably my favourite player to call in the competition.
He's a
Charlie
great guy.
Thompson.
Great guy.
Great footballer, great human, and an enormous acquisition for the Wangaratta Rovers. He's the best in ground balls in the competition. He averages 2.4 per game. Bear Panda, he's the best handballer in the game at 16.3 per game. And he gets it done every single week. He averages 127 ranking points. And for those that aren't familiar with that, it's Premier Data's version of fantasy / Supercoach points, which has got him 7th in the competition. The number 1 player for ground ball gets, like we said, 11.8. His handballing is superb, Panda. And he has a massive impact at stoppage. 9.4 clearances per game. Averages 29 disposals. He's a ball-winning machine. I don't think the competition probably acknowledged him as highly as he would have if he was playing at another club, which wasn't surrounded by a superstar on ballers. Absolutely baffled he did not feature in the Morris medal count. It just has me absolutely stuffed. I had him winning it last year. I think he's the premier on ball in the competition. I think if there's one tiny little knock you could find for Chuck, is he mightn't be the greatest defender when it comes to being an on-baller, but who needs to defend when you play for the Rovers? They've got Sam Catapan to do that for you. So I think he's a genuine star. He comes over with waffle, best and fairest form. Did not lower his colours at all in 2025. I'm expecting him to go better in 2026.
I just want to preface, I've got no qualms with your top 5 because my notes here just agree with all your top 5 here, Gussie. Nothing really more to say, to be honest, about Charlie Thompson. Best out-and-out midfielder in the comp. He kicks goals. He's quick. He's got speed. His first 5 steps, he can put you right behind him. So, I love the fact that you've got him at, well, a lot of people will say he's too low.
I don't know where to weave him in because at number 4, I've got the Corowa superstar, Kalen Bradke. Of course, KB made his return to Corowa after stints with Geelong, VFL, and, of course, Richmond in the AFL. Panda. He's the most dangerous key forward in the competition, in my opinion. 3.4 goals per game, which is second in the competition, and he won the Doug Strang. Of course, his average goals, I think, were boosted by Josh Murphy, having played a few less games than Kalen Bradke. So he took that note last year. I've wrote a note here, Panda, which is just kick it to KB, because when he marks the ball inside forward 50, 4.1 times per game, he's doing it often with 2 or 3 blokes trying to jump all over him and wrestle him. So he's competing against the best of the best every single week, and often it's 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3, particularly after Darcy Hope departed Cora Rutherglen in 2025. Number 3 marker in the competition. He averages 4.3 goal involvements a game as well. So not only is he really important in setting up play for Corowa, he's also really important to dishing it off. Averages 6.9 contested possessions per game. And I think Kalen Bradke, if he was playing in a side like, let's use Myrtleford as an example, I think he would kick an extra 20 goals per season.
Yeah, no qualms once again, Gussie. He's the best forward in the comp. I think he probably should still be on an AFL list if we're being really biased. And he travels from, is it from Geelong?
Geelong.
Yeah, so
5 hours.
It's a 4.5 hour trip up one way. So it's a 9 hour round trip. The fact that he was able to kick 62 goals last year and the 9th rated side is a credit to him. So who knows what 2026 brings with him alongside a mate. He's got a little bit of help there in Isaac Twelvetree, so looking forward to seeing what happens.
Podium time.
Podium. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, and 1.
I
Bronze
think
medal.
you've nailed it.
The bronze medal
Nailed it.
at number 3 is the Morris medalist, or one of 3 Morris medalists. From the Murdoch Alpine Saints at number 3, it's Jackson East. He gets the pill, Panda, 25.8 times a game, which is number 1 at the Murdoch Alpine Saints. His scoreboard impact is very underrated. 6.9 times per game. He has scoreboard impact with his score involvements, and he's the barometer. And I was struggling to find some enormous data because he's just above average at everything. He's not a superstar, number 1, number 2 at this, or number 1, number 2 at that. And I was struggling to unpack his data, but I found this. 12 from 13 wins that the Murdoch Alpine Saints had, Jackson East had 101 ranking points. So when this guy plays good games of footy, Murdoch would win. It's as simple as that. He's the barometer. And I think for a player to be perceived so highly by the outside world and us internally, after doing this is simply outstanding considering his numbers just aren't enormous.
I can't believe he doesn't get more pressure from the opposition. I think you're going to see him get tagged a fair bit this year. So, people are talking about this with Nazai Wanganeen-Millera. What's it going to look like for Naz when he gets tagged and has somebody on him? I think the same can be said for Jackson East this year. It baffles me that we got to round 10 and there's still no tag for Jackson East because he's so damaging when the ball hits when he gets the ball in hand. He can outrun players. So, Funky will probably say he does get tagged, Panda, but he's got a much better tank than a lot of other players in the competition. He runs all day, and he's so damaging above his shoulders for a small fella. He can take contested marks. So I'm looking forward to seeing him this year. I think he's going to get a little bit more, pressure from the opposition, but a clear standout for me in the comp, Gussie, and glad he was rewarded with the Morris Medal.
Number 2, I've gone with the big ruckman, Ed Damon.
So no A-grade status.
No, at the start of last year, he's had an enormous year.
Look, he's clapping your podium finish, Gussie.
Mids need service, Panda. You can have the best on balls in the competition. If they can't go and get the footy from the ruck contest, they're not going to be much good to you. So hit outs to advantage. He averages 9.2 a game. He kicks goals, Panda. 3 goals in the last 2 grand finals, plus a goal a game in 2026, averaging 20 goals from his 20 games. And Big Ed can get angry. Did not make the A-graders list in 2025.
A few Instagram DMs.
He knows some people that know where I live.
Right.
So that's got me worried.
I can give you his address afterwards, Ed, if you like.
This guy's a gun.
He is.
I had him in the top 3. A lot of other coaches had him at number 1.
He's around the groundwork as well. He's in anywhere from sort of that 15 to 25 disposals a game, clearance, contested beast. And he did take the mantle as the number 1 ruckman. Reading in the paper a couple of weeks ago, Isaac Muller wants to regain that status. So I'm really looking forward to that round 6 matchup when the Tigers play the Rovers, and if Muller can have a real good run at injury this year and can get on the park most weeks. So Ed's saying, come and take it off me, but I'm the man at the moment.
Looking forward to Rovers versus Albury. Number 1 player in the competition.
I wonder who this is.
No, it's not going to take a rocket scientist. The best player in the competition is Sam Murray, the coach of the Wangaratta Rovers.
No arguments.
I think this is going to be, and I hope Muzz doesn't mind me saying this, he should still be playing AFL footy.
He should.
He 100% should be playing AFL footy. His 2 brothers are going to play.
How good, the big
for the Adelaide Crows. I think it's on Saturday night, Panda.
Yeah, against Collingwood.
Against Collingwood.
You'd assume Sam will be down there. Pete and the whole crew, congratulations to them.
And Sam should still be playing AFL. We're going to not touch on that, but he is an absolute superstar. And I think one of the things I love about Muzz is he had a great year in his first year at the Rovers when he just played off halfback.
But it was a Sam Murray year.
And he just sort of did what he wanted to do. But then he took it upon himself to get super fit and break the on-ball position apart. He ripped it a new one. He's the best kick in the competition, Panda. He averages 21.7 kicks per game, which is number 1 in the league, and he's the 7th most effective by a foot. 2nd in the league for average disposals at 30.2 per game, and he's a centre bounce wizard. If this guy gets the ball at the centre bounce stoppage, you're not going to stop him. Number 2 in the league for centre clearances. He averages 3.3 a game. The simple fact of the matter is I don't care who you throw at him. I don't care what situation you put him into. There's always one bloke and only one bloke that stands up each and every time. Tagged, down by 30 points at 3/4 time, does all of this whilst coaching the side, might I add. Sam Murray is, without a doubt, the best player in the Ovens and Murray.
That he is.
Number 1.
That he is, Gussie. He can take hangers. He can do it all. It's going to be fascinating to see who the Magpies send to him in round 1 because Tyler Norton's moved on and they used Jasper Craven in that fixture last year, and he's moved on. So looking at the Magpies 22, I'm not sure they have somebody who can. Just looking at what they have now. So that'll be fascinating to watch. No qualms at all, Gussie. I think he's the best player in the competition. I think he's probably the best player I've seen, to be fair. And I've been around this comp a while. So, no, I love what he brings. He's a ripping guy. And you're right, he should still be on an AFL list. But Sam Murray, number 1.
Top 25, done and dusted.
Done and dusted.
I've got a meeting to run to, so we'll have to wrap it up there. We might review this as we get a little bit closer to the season. But as always, send through your thoughts on social media.
This will be on socials today.
Good, bad, and indifferent. And, of course, an enormous shout-out to Jacko and Tanisha. Here in the Speak Lab, this facility is absolutely sensational. We hope the other fans of O&M Live are going to like it here in 2026.
Apple Pods,
Yep.
Spotify, Listener, YouTube. Jump on 2AY O&M Live YouTube. Hit subscribe to all those channels. So
Bang.
we're going to be pumping up YouTube this year. Gussie, looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it as well, Pano. Do not DM me with any negative feedback or positive.
I'll tell you where Gussie lives. All thanks to Afonso Building Solutions. Gussie's top 25 done and dusted.